stars of GT racing this year.
So all of them have a good Macau pedigree. Eduardo Mortara is back. He has won the GT race 4 times, and he's won the Formula 3 Grand Prix twice. You've got Mauro Engel making a welcome return, who has won the GT race twice. You've got Raffaele Marciello as well, who I think I'm right in saying won on his last visit here, and he's this year's GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS Endurance Cup champion, and has won the Spa 24 Hours.
You've said that a few times.
Oh, have I ever? But he is one of Mercedes' absolute go-to drivers. Another one is Mauro Engel, who's on this grid. Another one is Jules Gounon, who isn't here, but maybe in the future we will see at Macau. Those 3 particularly are going to go toe-to-toe. Factor in as well Darrell Young, who won the race last year in a rebuilt car. Adderley Fong should be there or thereabouts. There's Frankie Cheng, whose early days go back to racing Formula Renault at British touring car events in the UK. Don't rule out Alexandre Imperatore as well, the 2012 Carrera Cup Asia champion. I mean, it's a smaller grid than some, but it's a proper quality grid, this, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic.
It really is, and we mentioned a few of the names that are represented, the manufacturer names that are represented in the gear. An equally impressive abundance of top quality manufacturers in the GT race as well. GT3 cars around the gear circuit excite me hugely.
So they should, because they are exciting shapes, they make a dramatic noise, and when you've got proper people at the top of their game behind the wheel, then it is an electrifying sight. These cars are very, very quick. They move around a little bit, but they do have proper aero, and this is a circuit really, possibly the only other one that you could really think of a GT3 car being at that's in any way similar would be Bathurst.
Yeah.
It's a different challenge, but it's a comparable challenge. And Raffaele Marciello potentially is going to start as a favourite here, but he's not going to have it all his own way, that is for sure.
It's always a tricky thing to predict at the start of a race weekend who is going to come out on top in the Galaxy Entertainment Macau GT Cup. I have made that mistake many times before, and something unexpected happens over the course of 4 days, and then all of a sudden the whole complexion of the weekend rather changes.
Now, normally in a GT3 session, one is discussing the balance of performance and how that's going to shake things out. But, you know, Macau as a circuit balances the performance because it can bite you so easily, so you've got to be careful. And this is a very graphic example of how awkward it is to get a big GT car just around the hairpin.
It's such a squeeze, isn't it, going around the hairpin, and it really is one of the keys to unlocking this circuit in a GT3 car, how you get around that corner.
If you've never seen a car breathe in, you will when a GT3 car gets to the hairpin. You can almost feel the car think, I need to be smaller, and it does get around the corner in the end. Right, so Mauro Engel is on to the first flying lap of the session from Ling Kang, who's another driver that we've had in Europe in years past, racing in Formula 3. Darrell Young goes through, and then chasing after him goes 33 of Andy Zhang. Every car that goes past us just makes a fantastic noise. They're bouncing over the bumps. Darrell Young, winner of this race last year, one of the most experienced drivers on the grid, whether it's been in one-make GT cars, in multi-mark GT racing or touring cars. That's Mauro Engel then, that most Australian-sounding of German drivers after his time spent for the Erebus team in what was then V8 supercars, but runner-up in the British Formula 3 Championship many years ago to Marco Asma. A loyal servant of Mercedes, whether it's been in touring cars, whether it's been in GT cars, and wherever around the globe he has been sent. If anybody can get one of those cars around here quickly, it's Mauro. There in strife is Orwei Hua with the YC Racing Audi. And that ain't going anywhere for the moment, is it?
It's not at the moment, no. That's disappointing so early on in the session.
There is a sort of cycle. You've got to give the car about 30 seconds for it to, if it's stalled, it's got to sort of almost power down and then power up again. And quite often a race director will throw a red quite quickly, and then just as that happens, the car completes its cycle and drives away again. So just give it a few seconds to see whether it will fire up. But if it doesn't after, say, a minute, then clearly it ain't going to, and we shall wait and see. Mauro Engel is lighting up the timing screens. Purple, purple, sector 1, sector 2, and he's got the road to himself.
It's a long sector 3. Let's see what Mauro Engel has been able to do. It's going to be the benchmark time, isn't it, as he comes up towards the Melco hairpin. Am I seeing that incorrectly? Was he coming up to the Melco hairpin slowly, or was that just in the braking zone? And we'll see now. No, the car still fully up to speed, and running down with a Lamborghini and a Mercedes, no ordinary Mercedes, Darrell Young's Mercedes, getting past the Lamborghini on the final run. Personal best in sector 3 for Mauro Engel. So overall best, personal best, and we wait for the time of Mauro Engel to come through on the second of the flying laps on this free practice session 1.
Adley Fong has gone quickest from Raffaele Marciello, then Darrell Young, and Eduardo Mortara goes up to 3rd, and it's all shuffling now as Mauro Engel goes out of Mandarin, but he is 8th fastest and dropping, in fact, so it was it looked a good lap, but it's turned out not to be as good as we thought.
Yeah, so it was exciting to be with Mauro Engel. Also, I think it's fair to say a remarkably nice chap to have a chat to, isn't he?
Yes, absolutely.
Really nice guy.
Yeah. But Raffaele Marciello, who is another great character, one of the key questions over the last couple of seasons at SRO GT events has been, what colour is the hair this week? We've gone from bright green to bright pink, and the tattooed Italian, based in Switzerland these days, is currently 2nd fastest to Adley Fong, who's Audi for the Uno Racing team. Tops the times, Adley Fong, who's the 2013 Audi R8 champion, but again, another driver that you might remember from British Formula 3 days. So he is quickest by 0.267 of a second from Lello. There he is, Raffaele Marciello.
Who impressed when he was competing at Macau in Formula 3 cars as well. Very impressive.
Yeah. Winner of the Spa 24 Hours this year, winner of the Endurance Cup, and he's about to get himself embodied in more traffic by the look of it as the cars head up the hill into Donna Maria comes the Mercedes. 16 of them we've got on track, so not quite as busy a road in terms of the number of cars as we've had for other sessions, but if you encounter traffic at the wrong point, you're still going to know about it.
Oh, it is a squeeze getting out of the corner, isn't it? And I think the Lamborghini kept it as tight as possible and was furthest away from the barrier, but they are within an inch of the barrier on the exit, aren't they? And
Marciello is perhaps within an inch of getting the top time here, look, because green, green, purple. Mauro Engel has just set the target, so Mauro Engel now does a 2:22.144. Darrell Young is back up to 2nd, and Raffaele Marciello is going to try and beat a 2:22 as he comes up across the timing line, and he does a 2:22.735 then. So stays 3rd quickest. Raffaele Marciello misses out the almost Martini-esque BMW there.
It is, isn't it?
Heading towards us. That's Kelvin Leung, winner of the Road Sport race in years past. And that's Eduardo Mortara that goes through. Certainly another driver that could lay claim to being Mr. Macau, couldn't he? And 8th quickest he is.
So Mauro Engel on top in the Mercedes. A 2:22.144 is the benchmark time with 3 laps completed. So I think that time that we've got up there was from the lap that we were watching, but the timing screen just took a little while to catch up.
Okay.
Because that was going to be his 3rd lap.
Right. Interesting. All right, so Mauro Engel did deliver then, and 0.4 of a second ahead of Darrell Young. Now, in fairness to Darrell, this is a very, very good effort to be ahead of the likes of Raffaele Marciello, Alexandre Imperatore, and Eduardo Mortara, who is now down to 8th. To call Darrell Young a pro is a bit kind, but he's certainly not an am, because, you know, he's a very experienced, very successful racer, but isn't necessarily punching for the same lap times as an Engel or a Marciello, but to be up there with them right now, admittedly on a circuit he knows and loves, that's impressive.
Really impressive, yeah. So to the fight back for last year, wasn't it? For Darrell Young.
I mean, the impact that the car had, and he had, on the oil was a sizable one. Down into Lisboa, caught somebody's oil. It was a blown engine, wasn't it, that coated the circuit. He pinballed his way into the barrier.
And the car was very, very poorly. In fact, I don't think either of us particularly imagined that it would be out on the Sunday. It was fairly tough hill to climb.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was airborne, wasn't it? I mean, as it bounced off the barrier, it got itself airborne. If you didn't see it, then have a quick look on YouTube. It's bound to be up there somewhere. But yeah, Darrell Young
goes top.
Is now the fastest, absolutely. 2:21s we're into now.
Eduardo Mortara has put in personal bests on the first three car we're looking at. And it's the number 5 Audi, Wu Rei Hua.
It's going to be a stoppage if he can't reverse it out of there. So
I fear you're right.
I'm just looking to see whether we've gone red already, actually. Not yet, but again, just get... Oh, no, we have gone red.
Yeah.
We have.
And it's free practice.
Here's the replay, Alan. So he just misses the apex, understeers wide, and crunch.
It is a textbook mistake at Lisboa. The escape road is there. So if you think you're going to overcook it into Lisboa, you can use that escape road. We've seen it done today. And unfortunately, if you commit to the corner and it goes wrong, that is what happens. Won't be the first and certainly not the last.
No, indeed so. And again, drivers frustrated because just as they were getting into a rhythm, back into the pit lane they have to come, including their number 72, Adam Lee Fong, the Hong Kong driver who's been punching above his weight thus far, outpacing Alexandre Imperatori and Eduardo Mortara.
Darrell Young is rather throwing down the gauntlet after that success from last year. Top of the times, albeit just with 3 fastest laps completed, 3 flying laps completed during this session.
I wonder how much of that is the fact that his experience is more recent than Mario Marciello's, for example.
Yeah.
Or if you're a GT racer at the level that those two are, does it
not make any difference at all? Yeah.
But you know, at some circuits you'd say it doesn't, because they're a pro driver and they just get on with it. But with the nuances of Macau, it might just be a slightly different conversation.
I'll be honest, I just love these top drivers. I love watching them within an inch of the barrier around Macau. It's such a treat to see.
And it's also a rarity, of course, that a GT race just has one driver.
Yes,
we did have a single driver race within the FIA Motorsport Games last month, but you know, ordinarily a GT race is 2 or 3 or 4 drivers. Yeah, exactly.
Which goes against the grain of being a racing driver, because racing drivers don't particularly like to share, do they?
No. And they certainly don't want to sit and watch their car being driven by somebody else.
No, exactly that.
So down the pit lane, everybody comes. The clock carries on ticking, and everybody now will await confirmation that they are going to be allowed back out in due course. So there's Mauro Engel, second fastest by 0.3 of a second. That's what he's missed out by. So the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes is in this region. And they're in a big hurry to get back to the pit lane is Min Hang's Toro. Talked about Toro Racing in GT4 terms, running 2 different brands. Well, here they are again, Mercedes and Porsche. They're running this car and Raffaele Marciello's Mercedes AMG as well.
Yeah, quite a mix. Super that we see and hear the support of manufacturers for this race. You're smiling. I know. I've turned the sound effects up in my earphones as well, because we can't
get enough of the noise.
Yeah, you absolutely cannot get enough of this. Not just the noise, but the variety of noises.
Yeah. And there's another of those great Porsche sounds, that of Alexandre Imperatori. Raffaele Marciello is in, so the Toro Racing squad operating different cars, and the marshals there with the red flag and the boards reminding the cars that they need to be in the pits. There is David Chen's Harmony Racing Ferrari. As Alan said, the sole Ferrari in the entry. Warmers, the tyre blankets going on, so anything that's been forced into the rubber will in part remain ready for the resumption of the session. Edo Mortara, the Sport Asia Team Absolute squad. Session will be resumed at 12:27. So only about a minute or so away, really.
Which is, yeah, pretty impressive to get the session back underway. Local time here at Macau, 12:25. Resumption of the session, 12:27. Very pleasant 25 degrees today here at Macau. We say pleasant. These cars get incredibly warm inside.
And this, in a way, is the worst time for the driver, because you've been strapped into the car, getting hot. Finally, you're allowed out of air through, but all that heat then builds up, and now you're back into the pit lane, and you sit, and that's when the heat soak comes in.
Yep. All of the car up to temperature. That means hot inside the car. These guys are very well experienced with it and super, super fit, which you have to be to deal with the sort of physical and mental exertion that you're doing in the car, but also to deal with the temperatures they deal with as well. It's always incredibly impressive. They open the door, you go in to do an interview, and you are hit by a wall of heat.
That's true.
It's quite incredible.
So you saw the Theodore Racing colours being carried by Darrell O'Young's Mercedes. Of course, Teddy Yip, great supporter of this event, and his Theodore Racing team lives on through support of established teams for the Macau Grand Prix weekend. So there, Darrell O'Young, another of the Craft Bamboo Racing drivers, with the Theodore Racing stickers on the side, and the car about to be released down the pit lane as we get set for FP1 to get back underway.
So Engel's car dropped down off the jacks, and already Darrell O'Young released down pit lane to get back out on circuit.
With 8 minutes to go,
Yeah, and we've seen before today just how important that is to be first out onto the track, to get that clear track in front of you. That's going to be significant. Darrell O'Young, I suppose not surprisingly, means business this weekend. You can kind of feel it already.
Yeah, I mean, last year it was a mega commitment, wasn't it, to come and go through the quarantine that was imposed upon people from away, and to then seemingly not even be able to get into the race with the damage. Well, it was a Herculean effort. They got the car on track, and a win was a great result. He's first out, but he's under attack. Eduardo Mortara wants track position, and we've already got somebody going out wide at Lisboa and up the escape road. So again, drivers pushing right from the get-go in this session.
Superb. This is what we look forward to at Macau. And Mortara is not someone you want in the mirrors, and he's not there anymore. Just dives through. Brave move that. You have to trust the driver you're driving with.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
do that.
But Eduardo Mortara has brought himself that clear track space now, hasn't he? So he's away.
Vital, absolutely vital. It is great to have these names back at Macau. Mortara, who has thrilled us at Macau year after year after year. So too Marciello, so too Maro Engel, Darrell O'Young we can add to that list as well. Imperatori as well in the Porsche. Great to have these top drivers here this weekend.
And it matters to them as well, because okay, on the one hand, you know, it's another race weekend where the manufacturer parachutes them into a team, but equally this is special. It's somewhere they love, it's somewhere they've not been for 3 seasons, and they are all delighted to be back.
And when you talk to them, whatever circuit you are, anywhere in the world, when you talk to them and you mention Macau, you see the face changes.
Yeah, you're right.
A little smile comes on the face, and they know what a challenge this circuit is, especially in these cars. You are taming the car, aren't you, around a circuit like this?
Absolutely. And commitment is rewarded, but you've got to know exactly where to push and when to push, because you are, if you're doing it properly, just centimetres away from the barriers. And this is Mortara on a fast lap now, absolutely going for it, road to himself, nobody in the way, and he is currently only 6th fastest, so he's got to attack on this lap as Mauro Engel then goes up to Moorish. Now on towards Donovan.
The Mercedes GT3 car has been such an impressive car over the years here at Macau.
Yeah, and some very good teams running them as Mauro Engel goes down through the gears, aborts the lap. Now, has something broken, or is he just...
Well, it didn't sound right, did it?
No, I think that's a mechanical problem. As he went down through the gears, something in the transmission has gone, and that car didn't seem to have any drive or any sound even coming out of the corner. Oh, he has now, so take it all back. He was purely doing a launch out of the hairpin.
Wow.
And then backs off again.
And then backs off, weaves the car. He's setting himself up for a real assault on this next lap, isn't he?
And it's interesting that he's wanting to do it in free practice. So again, accelerate, slow down, because if you hit the brakes, you'll get that warmth through, and vice versa. And now he's on the attack once more. And also by doing those stoppies, he's let the traffic go, such as it was up the road. So he's built a bigger gap. So right, we'll try again. Engel is 2nd fastest by 0.342 of a second behind Darrell Young.
We should have known better than to think there was something wrong with the car.
But I agree, it didn't sound right. But as he went, you know, right the way down to first gear and didn't accelerate out of the corner, it didn't sound right.
So it didn't sound normal.
No, exactly. Yeah. But it looks normal going out of Lisboa and now up towards Fisherman's.
So up San Francisco Hill goes Mauro Engel. And what you really want is to have clear track on this section of the circuit. It's exactly what Mauro Engel has. So pick your lines, the optimum line. Be as close as you like to the wall and to the barrier.
Mortara's gone top, incidentally, now on a 2:20. Raffaele Marciello is up to 2nd, so Mauro Engel is down to 5th because Imperatori has gone 4th behind Darrell Young. So here, Engel has got to really dig deep because he's slower than he was earlier in the first sector.
Yeah, so a personal best in Sector 2. Nothing to report for Sector 1 for Mauro Engel. And he's set this up to be the perfect lap, hasn't he? All of the preparations, the Melco hairpin and down through Donna Maria. He's heading back up towards the Melco hairpin now.
It's a wide approach, but it's worked for him. So
it's quick round the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. So down the hill, again, threads it like string through the eye of a needle, down between the barriers, and
personal
down in
best in Sector 3.
Yeah, and Sector 2, but down in Sector 1, so he's got to try and overcome that. One more sector to go. Fast part of the circuit. Still, only him around on the racetrack. Nobody to get in the way. Comes now towards our bend, and he's got to be aiming at a 2:20 here. That's the target, Eduardo Mortara's time, but I'm not convinced he's going to do it.
Up towards the line he goes, and currently 5th, and goes top.
He does do it, 2:20.759, and that was thanks to an absolute best in the last sector. So lost a bit of ground in the first, made it all up in 2, 3 and 4.
It's a beautiful exit from Melco hairpin, wasn't it? It's a critical part of the circuit. Neat around the corner, don't scrub off too much speed. Get it neat and tidy, accelerate out of the corner. Exactly what Eduardo Mortara just did as well.
What's fascinating here is the way they're almost treating this like qualifying one, never mind
it
FP1.
It really is. Look at them. Yeah. The cars.
So Mortara then up towards our bend. Now he is shown on our typing screen as being back at the top ahead of Engel, but he's only just broken the beam, so there's something odd going on in the system. 2 minutes 20.218 is the lap time that he's been credited with, but this might update itself again shortly. So he's gone back to the top.
I realise it's when GT cars are on circuit at Macau that sometimes I realise I have to remind myself to breathe, because there are so many areas and margins, aren't there?
Yeah, again, so close to the wall. Checkered flag is out, but Mortara is still pushing. Slightly perplexed as to why Engel's time has been either taken away or... Anyway,
I don't know.
Because he was put back to the top of the times, Mortara, before he got to the timing line, so there's something odd going on. However, that car...
Clear track from Mortara.
Yeah, should be able to go fast this time around. Let's see what the sectors are if we get the graphic. And there's your answer, a personal best and an absolute best. So a 220.218 is Mortara's best effort. Drops it down the gears. Again, that very distinctive Audi engine note as he heads then now from Police up to Moorish and then on towards Donna Maria.
Long left-hander at Donna Maria to finally get to the Melco hairpin. Down to Melco. Glorious noises.
But he's lost out in that third sector. Now we know that that's not necessarily the end of the world. If you can dig deep in the other sectors, it's a 4-sector lap, and that car almost nervous there. You could almost feel the car edging to break away as he came into Fisherman's, into our bend now. So Mortara aiming to beat his own top time, and he's now been given a 2 minutes 19, comes up across the timing line, and a 2:19.841 is confirmed, so he has done it.
Adley Fong improves as well, goes 5th, and Prix goes 4th in the Porsche. So plenty of improvements on this final lap. Darrell Young is 5th, car 55.
And that's Ling Kang in the Lamborghini that goes through. And he is 9th at the end. Where's the top Porsche out of all of that? Alexandre Imperatori, 4th quickest. So Audi, Mercedes, Mercedes, Porsche, Mercedes, Audi is the order in the top 6.
Every car is a dream car, isn't it, on this grid?
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
Audi's there, Lamborghini is there, BMW is there, Porsche is there, Mercedes AMG is there, Ferrari is there. Which one can I take home?
Did you say BMW?
I did, yes, because you've got the M6, haven't you, Calvin Leung.
The M6.
The Lamborghini makes just a great noise. They always have done. The Gallardo before, now the Huracan. Almost symphonic sound. That's Ling Kang for Phantom Pro Racing. Heads down the hill. The other Lamborghini in the entry is the Parkview Toyota car of Liu Chi Ren. And now the marshals stand to receive the cars to bring them into the pit lane. So Mortara, Engel, Marciello, Imperatori, Ouyang, Fong. Probably, it's fair to say, the best 6 and the most experienced 6 in the entry. And Maro Engel, oh so close, but in the end losing out by 0.6 of a second.
So after free practice 1, we are none the wiser as to what to expect this weekend, because all of the names you would predict are there.
Expect qualifying to be absolutely intense. That's what I would offer you, because the drivers will know that if they can get ahead onto the front of the grid, then they're in the pound seats.
Superb. What a joy this is.
The car at the foot of the times, just for the purposes of record, was Andy Zhang's Mercedes AMG. The car about 16 seconds away from the absolute pace. But if you're trying to battle against a Mortara or an Engel or a Marchiello, and that's the time you do, well, you're not entirely disgraced, because these are absolute masters of their art. Adley Fong's very, very colourful Racing Audi R8 LMS GT3 Evo 2, to give it its full title, comes down the pit lane, as also now does the Ferrari of... .6 of a second, though, that Mortara pulled on Engel. It's still quite a gap, isn't it? So good effort done that by Edo.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
And that says Mr. Macau is back.
So Eduardo, the fastest at the end of free practice 1 for the Galaxy Entertainment Macau GT Cup from Mauro Engel and Raffaele Marchiello, with Alexandre Imperatori 4th, Darrell Young 5th, and Adley Fong. This was David Chen. 8th quickest was Frankie Cheng in the Audi R8. Arguably, it should have been higher up than that, given his experience. And 16 cars in total, making a quality grid for the Galaxy Entertainment Macau GT Cup.